First, Americans are hunkering down this morning as the pandemic brings us our personal and work lives to a complete standstill. It is very scary. President Trump has made it clear this is no time to take any chances.
My administration is recommending that all Americans, including the young and healthy, work to engage in schooling from home when possible, avoid gathering in groups of more than 10 people, avoid discretionary travel, and avoid eating and drinking at bars, restaurants, and public food courts.
It's very good advice. The president also said for the first time yesterday that this crisis could lead to a recession. On Wall Street yesterday, as you heard, the stocks plummeted right after the opening bell. The Dow Jones Industrials lost nearly 3,000 points. That is close to 13%.
The U.S. now has more than 4,500 reported coronavirus cases, but the actual total could be much higher. At least 90 people have died. Our coverage of this new normal in America begins with Mola Lenghi in New York City. Mola, it's remarkably quiet in this typically crazy city.
Absolutely, Anthony, it is. You know, New Yorkers here are waking up to new rules and that new normal that you guys are talking about. And that's really defined by empty streets, deserted, desolate streets. This is Columbus Circle, one of the busier areas in the city. It sits adjacent to Central Park. But of course, as you mentioned, bars, restaurants, coffee shops all closed. Retail stores have adjusted their hours, as you can see, illustrated by that sign, and further illustrated by the transit systems here. Columbus Circle, one of the busier subway stations in the city. Normally, hundreds, if not thousands of people would be pouring out of here. As you can see, now down to a trickle. Meanwhile, in other parts of the country, leaders are taking even more drastic measures to stop the spread of the virus.
The streets of New Orleans eerily quiet on the eve of St. Patrick's Day. The crowds were kept home after Louisiana forced all bars to close over coronavirus fears. From San Francisco to New York City, businesses were shuttered Monday night and streets deserted under similar orders.
No matter where you look, this is something, it's an invisible enemy.
The president's guidance to limit gatherings to no more than 10 people is part of a plan for all Americans to help stop the spread, something emphasized by the White House coronavirus response coordinator on the CBS Evening News with Norah O'Donnell.
If you get behind a pandemic, this virus is about 2 to 3 times more contagious than flu. And so that's why we want everybody to do everything that they can.
Hi. New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut announced a coordinated social life shutdown, with theaters and gyms closed and restaurants and bars limited to takeout and delivery. In the San Francisco Bay Area, officials called for several counties to shelter in place.
What we are asking for everyone to do is to remain at home for all but the most essential outings for your safety and the safety of those around you.
The mass shutdown is being felt by businesses big and small. Chef Eric Repair of New York's Le Bernardin restaurant says he is not able to pay his staff, but is committed to covering their health insurance through April.
What are the discussions that are being had?
I have been talking to some of my friends in the industry who are chefs and restaurateurs, and everybody is terrified by the situation. I wish I could do better for our employees. I just can't.
While grocery stores have been inundated, some shops have set aside special time just for seniors, a group that's especially vulnerable to the virus.
We've been standing in line for other markets, but by the time we get in, there's a lot of it gone.
Travelers are also on high alert. This Delta flight to Seattle was grounded in New York Monday night after a passenger said they might have been exposed to coronavirus. But the race for a vaccine took a drastic step Monday when Jennifer Holler from Seattle volunteered to become the first person to receive an experimental dose.
I know everybody feels so helpless right now, and I was so excited to be given this opportunity to actually do something tangible to potentially help thousands, millions of people.
Well, potential vaccines still being studied, but Tony, we're still about a year away from any sort of widespread use.
Can't come soon enough, Mola. Thank you very much.